Let's go back to swing state Arizona, where our own Jacob Soboroff just watched tonight's debate with a group of voters who we met before it all kicked off. I'm sort of desperate, Jacob, to know what everybody thought of it.
Rachel, it really is a profound privilege to get to do this and spend time with folks like the people in this room that I did get to watch the debate with tonight. And I have to say that nobody watched this debate coming out of it who said, who wasn't coming in voting for Trump or thinking about voting for Trump, that I'm now going to lean for Trump. There are multiple people in this group who are now either going to participate on behalf of Vice President Harris or are now leaning Harris. One thing I want to say is it's still 97 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona. It's 9 p.m., 100 days, as Chris Hayes said, over 100 degrees. There was, I think, fair to say, people were happy that climate change came up at the end of the debate. But I do want to start with Denise, who I got messages from folks asking about Denise, saying she wrote herself in 2016 and 2020. How could you think about doing that again? Most interestingly to me is that you may not be doing that any longer. And in particular, I watched you get what I think would be fair to say deeply emotional, feel free to contradict me, during the portion of the debate about reproductive rights and what Vice President Harris had to say about that. Why?
Well, for years we've had men legislatures tell us we can't have abortions. We have to do this with our bodies. We have to do that with our bodies. We've never had control. And finally, we have someone who's a woman who gets that it's about us. And abortion has been in our society and been around much longer than Roe v. Wade. And Roe v. Wade protected women of childbearing years from the charlatans and the hacks and the people who were just not doing right by them.
And so the door is now open. It feels like a connection has been formed between you and Vice President Harris. It wasn't there before tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Again, I would like to know more. And as we were talking before, here's, Trump, who's been campaigning this long, long time, and now Harris is finally thrust in the spotlight. So it's sort of like the parliamentary system versus an American system of campaigning. So I would like to know more.
But it made an impact, clearly.
Clearly made an
Denise, thank you very much. Julian, let me start with you on the issue of the economy, because we talked before the debate about how you could very well be 1 month away, these are your words, not mine, from homelessness based on jobs and affordability here. When Vice President Harris said, and I want to make sure I get this right, Donald Trump has no plan for you, speaking of the economy, you were talking about how before politicians don't have a connection to you, or you didn't feel that way. You feel like what Vice President Harris was talking about maybe in that moment spoke to you?
Yeah, well, I feel like Donald Trump, like, speaking, for example, since he's the other candidate, I feel like he doesn't care about me and my issues, but I feel like Kamala Harris does, and she said, like, she's for the middle class. She was considered middle class when she was growing up.
That's right. She said that right off the top.
Yeah, and
that resonated with you, huh?
Yeah, and also she
it sounds like to me,
like small businesses was what she also talked about.
She made an impact on you tonight.
Yeah.
All right, Julian, thank you very much. I'm going to come over here and talk to Bonnie, 30-year elementary school teacher. Bonnie, there was a lot, I think, I saw you rolling your eyes when former President Trump was talking about Vice President Harris's plans and said, basically run, spot, run. He was mocking her, making a joke about a children's book, one that you probably know well. But it's about the war in Ukraine and former President Trump's refusal to say that he wanted Ukraine to win that seemed to bother you, at least at one of the most times during this debate.
I would say I was disappointed at the fact that he didn't give a direct answer to that. I mean, you're either for a country and its ideals or you're not. And I was frankly surprised that he didn't give a direct answer as to whether he was supporting Ukraine or not.
You're another one of the folks here who has said to me in between the debate and now that the door is now open for you to vote for Vice President Harris. What else would you like to see from her?
I would like to see more off-the-cuff type of interviews and answering questions that aren't practiced or set up ahead of time.
Well, it's been an abbreviated campaign. We got a couple months left. I think you're probably going to get that.
Well, I hope to hear more from her.
Bonnie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Jeff, who, Jeff, remember everybody, was, after the last debate, Trump, hell no, Biden, oh no. The door is now open to you as well for Vice President Harris. You were saying to me that the portion of the debate about January 6th. By the way, we're in Maricopa County, one of the centers of election denialism, at least the debate around it. Local elections here are hotly contested about literally election administrators who have denied not only the results of the 2020 election, but continued to deny the results of the 2020 midterms, about the integrity of the system here going into 2024. What bothered you so much about former President Trump? You say you're a McCain Republican, saying he had no regrets about January 6th.
That's really hard to get my head around because, you know, he's saying, oh, I didn't do anything except give a speech. But actually what he was doing is orchestrating how the whole situation was playing out. He told the Secret Service guys to take the metal detectors out and let people just come in unreviewed, uninspected. I mean, that's a terrible thing to do. But there were a lot of other things going on for 2.5 hours when he was prancing around in the White House. And it just seemed like how can you not take responsibility at some point for the whole thing? I mean, I didn't see any other banners up there except Trump banners. So I think it was a pretty much heavily skewed group in favor of Trump.
You didn't believe him with what he had to say today?
No, but because liars don't cheat and cheaters don't lie. Wait, I said that wrong. Cheaters don't win and winners don't cheat.
What type of impression did Vice President Harris make on you tonight as a McCain Republican with members of the McCain family now endorsing Vice President Harris?
Yeah, Bobby McCain came in and said it would be a disaster for the country if Trump got back into the office, and his brother did too. And so it's just, I mean, I think there's a clear line that there are people who understand the importance of this election, and there's people who want to just play, you know, keyboard warriors and making a fuss and really saying heinous things about other people. So that's Trump, the bully. And I think Kamala Harris came out showing some decorum and some presidential nature about her. So I think the door's a little bit open.
Jeff, thank you. I really appreciate it. Nicole, on policy, I think it's accurate to say you may never vote for Vice President Harris based on the policies that she has, but it also sounds like this debate cemented for you that you will never vote for former President Trump, at least again. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that people want to separate policy from character, and I just don't see how you can do that. I can't get behind somebody who maybe I agree with certain policies on, but their character is atrocious and lacks complete leadership.
Okay, Nicole, thank you very much. Juan Carlos, we were talking about before the debate about how you were leaning Trump, but you didn't like his rhetoric towards immigrants. We heard here again these unfounded claims about, I mean, it's hard to even say them, about people stealing and eating animals in Ohio. We know that's not true, but he repeated it anyways. He talked about rapists and murderers and insane asylum and people coming across the border. Did it bother you?
Certain things did bother me, but I'm still holding on. Like, even though he said that we still have to have a controlled border, a secure border, because, yeah, we've had a lot of people going through the border illegally. My family went through a long process to get here legally. So I feel that it's unfair for hundreds of thousands to get here without problems, and then for the federal government to help them out. We've also lost Americans because how many illegals we're letting in, like the young boy from Ohio who had killed by illegal immigrants, or the college students.
You're talking about Aiden Clark. I should say about Aiden Clark. This is a touchy subject, but Aiden Clark's family said that they didn't like the Trump campaign, especially J.D. Vance, talking about Aiden Clark in the context of the campaign, and they don't want it to, I'm paraphrasing here, affect migrants in a negative way.
Yeah, not going like that, but I'm saying if that guy wasn't allowed here illegally, we would still have a lot of people here with us.
And what about the border bill? Vice President Harris made a specific focus of pointing out how former President Trump killed that border bill, one of the most conservative, actually, in the history of the United States, basically for political reasons. He didn't deny that. Does that bother you, caring so much about the border?
Yeah, that did bother me, but it's like we don't have the best options right now, and we haven't had the best options for a good few years. So this election, for me, being a first-time voter, it feels like either you vote for like an okay-ish candidate or like a less okay candidate. Because I can go with Trump because I'm more conservative, but I can still attack him for like some parts that go against what he preaches.
Okay, all right, Juan Carlos, thank you very much. And Romeo, let's end with you here. You went Biden 2020. You were leaning Trump. Is it correct to say that the door is now open again for Harris? Did you say that coming out of the debate?
Yeah, I will say after this debate, she's definitely piqued my interest, but I'm still, leaning towards Trump, and he didn't surprise me in any way today, so he's still on on the path I expected.
What is it about Vice President Harris that piqued your interest? What do you want to know more about her? And if you were to go over to her, coming in like Juan Carlos as a potential Trump voter, what could be the deciding factor?
I think with Harris, there's just a lot of question marks entering this debate. You know, I didn't really know a lot about her other than she served as vice president. And today, unfortunately, she didn't get to talk about a lot of her policy. And so I need to step away from this now that she's piqued my interest to kind of do my own research and look on her website.
I think that's probably exactly what they want to hear as well from a voter like you. Before we go, just a show of hands. Coming into this debate, the two of you were leaning Trump. Are you going to vote for Trump? Sounds like you're not. So let me just do like this. Trump, raise your hand. If you're sure you're going to vote for Trump, raise your hand.
Sure is a strong word. If I had to vote right now, today, I'd vote for Trump.
Okay.
Same thing here, yeah.
Okay. Harris, if you had to vote today, raise your hand. And you just want to know more, Bonnie?
I want to know more.
And Nicole's not going to vote for either.
I can't right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you all very much. Rachel, thank you also to 12 News in Phoenix for hosting us in here on this sweltering hot night, but also just so interesting to see that a group of people who were largely undecided or non-committal, the door has been far more open to Vice President Harris after this debate than to former President Trump, that is for sure. And again, thanks to all of you for the privilege of being able to hang out with you guys. Rachel, back to you.
Well, please tell everybody there that we're so grateful to them to being willing to talk, to be there with you, but also to talk us through it. It's absolutely invaluable. And like I said, as far as I'm concerned, they all passed the audition for being on local news. For sure.
I'll let them know.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jacob.
Rachel.
Thank you.